Hey, my name is Charles Murray and I'm a sales transformation expert. I specialize in working with real estate agents and helping them add $25,000 to $50,000 to their income in 90 days or less. And today I'm going to share with you the number one mistake that real estate agents make and how to fix it. But before I show you the video, just a quick brief background about me. I started off as a real estate appraiser back in New York City. I was Mike Ferry's #1 sales rep for his organization. And most recently, I was also a corporate trainer for Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, where I trained agents for over 23 franchise locations. And so I'm going to be sharing with you some of the tips, strategies that I've learned that's helped a lot of agents. So sit back and enjoy the video. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me this morning. Thanks to Gene Armstrong for bringing me out. Like Gene mentioned, I've been in real estate. I started off as an appraiser back in New York City. Did that for a few years. Did some investments, and then I became licensed out here in California. But I've been doing sales for over 20 years. So when I became a corporate trainer for Berkshire Hathaway, I started helping a lot of agents with just some of the basic sales skills, and it was really helping their businesses. So after about a year and a half, then I started my own coaching. I do elite sales coaching. And today, I want to talk about the #1 mistake that real estate agents make. And this is agents that have been in the business for 15 years, 10 years, or brand new agents, right? So the #1 mistake that real estate agents make is not having a good strategy, right? So what I found as a coach and a trainer, a lot of people that were coming into the business. Well, first of all, if we're honest, retail residential has very low standards. So anybody can kind of get licensed and get in the business, and then there's really like no standard accountability. You know, a lot of people are in the business and they don't really have to work hard. They can just be in the business, right? And this creates a lot of problems. One of the problems is that as a listing agent, because I train agents on how to be listing agents, people that you're speaking to don't see value in having listing agents anymore. Right? And I'm sure some of you have experienced this. So what's the problem with that? The problem is that a lot of agents that have no skills or low standards, what they typically do is they'll just put the house in the MLS, do a couple of open houses, and then they just sit back and kick up their feet. So a lot of people have had so many bad experiences that they don't see the value of having a listing agent anymore. So what we're going to talk about is how do we create a tremendous amount of value to where people respect and they feel good about paying you a full commission on your properties, okay? But let's just talk about what is a good strategy. So let's go ahead and write this down. There's 3 things. It must be measurable. So your strategy has to be measurable, meaning that you should be able to measure the results, the numbers, okay? And if you have a goal or a strategy that's too big, so let's say someone says, I want to do, I want to do 50 million in 1 year, but they haven't really done $1 million in 1 year. So what ends up happening is the number's so big and it's not really measurable that on a day-to-day basis, they're not able to measure whether they're on track or not. So #1, it has to be measurable. #2, it has to make sense mathematically. So what do I mean by that? So mathematics is a study of change. It's the knowledge and the science of how things change, right? So in very simple terms, we could just use the measurements of how many people are you talking to on a day-to-day basis that want to buy and sell real estate? Because if you're not talking to people that want to buy and sell real estate, you're not building a business. That's the only activity that really is going to generate business for you, is talking to people that want to buy and sell real estate. So then we have to look at what are all the different ways that we can contact people that want to buy and sell real estate, right? So we have like farming, we have open houses, we can do seminars in banks, we have friends, families, our center of influence, we have probates, we have divorces, we have expireds, we have for sale by owners. So if we look at all these different sources of how we're going to generate business, we can start to look at it mathematically. Which ones are going to have the highest probability of quickly making a decision to buy and sell real estate? So if we look at farming works But the problem with farming is that it usually takes about 3 to 5 years. Okay? And the reason why a lot of people farm is because they're afraid of rejection. So farming is a very passive activity. When we talk about sales, go ahead and write this down. And what sales is the ability to change someone's mind. Okay? So that means that when we talk to somebody or we contact somebody on the phone, they may not be interested in discussing selling their property, even though they are interested in selling their property, but our job is to get them interested, right? And that's why people will pay you, is because you can persuade and influence and change people's minds, okay? So mathematically, if we look at farming, people typically will move when their kids graduate or when they retire and they're ready to. So somebody could work this farm for a very long time and then hope that after all the years that when they decide to sell that they remember that person, okay? But if they're ready to sell and someone contacts them and they change their mind and influence them and build confidence in them, then that person who's been farming for a very long time could still lose that lead. So that's part of the mathematics of success. How long does each segment of business take, and how much control are you going to have over that type of segment of business? And then also, what is the mindset of the person in that segment of the business? For example, if you're chasing NODs, right? They may seem like they're motivated because they're in a time constraint, they're headed to foreclosure. But a lot of NODs, they want to believe that they can hold on to the property, they can fight, they can get an attorney, and they run away from you even though you're there to help them, right? So if you look at it mathematically, you're going to help people who don't want your help, and then you have to chase them down, you're wasting a lot of time. So now if we move over to, let's say divorces. A lot of times divorces end up in a nasty fight, and people are spiting each other, and then sometimes you have the court involved. So then you don't really have control over that type of, the timing of the transaction, but then also the attitude of the people that are involved in the interaction also impact your business, right? So that again is a source, but then how measurable is it? Right? Now let's take a look at the for sale by owner. The for sale by owner, we know wants to sell their property. That's why they're listing their house on the market. So they're already motivated. They're already interested in selling their property, right? So for sale by owner, or FSBO, stands for fastest source of business opportunity. These people are going to sell. And if you call for sale by owners, they typically have sold their property or they've already listed within 60 to 90 days. Okay? So now we're looking at the speed and the time of a transaction and how fast people are making decisions and what their motivation is, all right? Now we also have the expireds. What do we know about the expired listings? We know that the expired wanted to sell, number one. We also know that they were willing to pay a commission, right? So the good thing about the expired is that they don't mind paying a commission. They just want someone who's going to provide a good service and get their household. The for sale by owner is, a lot of times they think that they want to save a commission or they don't see the value in hiring a listing agent, but a lot of them do end up listing with real estate agents. These are just the facts, okay? So those are some examples of mathematics of success, measurability, and being able to be in control over your business. The other thing too is when you hold an open house, which is another way that you can generate business, you can't predict how many people are going to come into the open house. Right? So you may have an open house and 10 people come in, or 12 people come in, or 20 people come in. But if you hold another open house, you don't know how many people are going to come in, which affects the amount of control you have over your business, right? But if you're prospecting and you're calling people, you can control how many calls you make, and you can start to figure out how many contacts you can make in a certain period of time, which starts to give you control over your business. Okay, so the third thing that makes up a good strategy is that it has to produce results. Okay? So I want you guys to ask yourself, if what you're doing in your business, is it measurable? Are you able to control the results that you're getting? And can you duplicate it at any time? Right? So the ultimate skill is that whenever you want to generate business, you can generate business at will. And then you have control over your business, right? Now the problem with not having a good strategy is a lot of people end up waiting for things to happen in their business. instead of making something happen in their business. And that's the difference, right? That's how I'm able to help agents transform their business and add $25,000 to $50,000 in 90 days or less. For example, one of my clients right now is Shayna. She was been in business about 2.5 years, had no sales, right? She just didn't know what to do and didn't have a good strategy. So she's been coaching with me, and now she's at over $1.1 million in sales, over $38,000 in commissions, and that's 61 days. And she's in escrow right now for her fourth side, which should be closing in about a week and a half. So she'd probably be about 42,000 right around 90 days. Okay. So let's talk about what are 3 easy steps that we can do to fix this problem, right? So let's go ahead and write this down. The first step, which is really simple, is to revamp your goals. And here's how you should measure your goals. Do your goals excite you? If your goals don't excite you, then you're not going to have the energy to put forth to contact people, and then people aren't going to respond because they don't feel that you're excited about what you're doing. Okay? So the first thing is to revamp your goals. The second thing is make your goal time frame a short period of time. So what a lot of people do is they'll write a yearly business plan at the beginning of the year. But the problem with that is that a year is a long time, and what happens is you go through a lot of emotions week to week to week to week, and then you forget about your goal and all that stuff, right? And then it's just a very big goal, so it's stressful in the mind. What I say is break down your goals into 90 days. Make a commitment to work really hard for 90 days, and if those goals that you have excite you, then it's just a short period of time that you're working really hard, focused, and then once you hit your goals, you're going to experience the joy of the goals that you set. Because there's nothing more defeating than setting goals and you never hit them, right? But what happens when you start closing deals and you're hitting goals and you're traveling and you're paying off your debts and you get into investing, right? Your energy goes up. You feel better and you feel good about your business, right? So, short-term goals. Now, there's another thing, too, to keep in mind. A lot of times when you write down your goals and you don't look at them for a while, you end up hitting a lot of them and you don't realize it. So what happens is once you hit your goals, then your energy starts to go down because you have to set new goals. So the good thing about setting short goals is that every 90 days, you should be revamping your goals. You should be getting re-inspired again because they're going to change and you're going to hit a lot of your goals. Okay? And number 2, continue to focus, grow, and study real estate. See, the great thing about real estate, retail residential, is a lot of people that we help are not in the real estate field. So they're not studying the contracts. They're not studying, the laws. They're not studying different strategies. They're not really studying marketing, which means that gives you an opportunity to have value to people. But what ends up happening is a lot of agents stop learning. So they go to a few classes, they learn the contracts, they learn some stuff, and then they end up getting into like marketing, right? How to do online marketing, how to do some flyers, different things like that. But that type of time doesn't necessarily convince people that they should hire you. If you are in a conversation with somebody and you're teaching them things about law or about finance or about different ways of strategizing the property to get more people into the property to create a bidding war, right? And then someone else is just saying the same things. I'm gonna put on an open house, I can market it, I can do flyers and all that stuff. They're gonna go with the person that sounds more intelligent and who knows more about real estate, okay? So there's only one fundamental argument in real estate. I want you guys to write this down. And this is what sales is, right? When you're talking to somebody who wants to buy and sell real estate, whether you know it or not, there is an argument taking place. An argument is not yelling. It's just when two people have a difference of opinion on a perspective and they're going back and forth on which one is more accurate or which one's right, right? So the fundamental argument in real estate is who knows more about how to get a home sold? That's the fundamental argument. And if you make your conversation around this topic about who knows more about how to get a home sold, who can prove they have the ability to drive traffic to create offers, and they can back that up with facts and stats, you're going to win the listing. You're going to win the listing. So by continuing to study real estate, for example, who here is familiar with the single party compensation agreement? Okay, so the single party compensation agreement is it's an agreement for compensation for a particular buyer. Okay, so if you guys are having trouble getting a listing signed for a non-exclusive agreement, you can still get a single party compensation agreement signed for a particular buyer that you bring. And what this does is it lets the person know that you're working for them. You're not going to just get paid off of just posting it on the internet. You only get compensated if you do the work and you bring somebody to the table. Okay? So there's a lot of different ways to do that, because you guys are all working in the office. You guys can use each other's buyers. You guys can network and use other people's buyers. So all people want to know is that you're working and that you're going to be bringing what they want to the table. And what do people want? They want buyers. Okay? All right, so number 3. Focus on talking to the people who are most interested in doing something in real estate in the next 30 to 60 days. That will greatly help your business. See, the problem with real estate is that there's a gray area in value, there's a gray area in price, and a lot of people are not good at how to do transactions. And then also you have to deal with pricing and emotions, because a lot of times people will price their property based on how they feel, not based on market value or appraisal value, right? But if you have someone who has strong time constraints, like they have to sell because they're motivated, because there's a job transfer, because their kids are moving to a new school district, because they have an ill family member that they need to go take care of, what's going to happen is they're going to be forced to make a decision because they're running out of time. All right, so this is going to speed up your business. Targeting people who are going to do something within 30 to 90 days. Okay, so just to give you guys a couple tips. A lot of people don't like to work with for sub owners and expireds. And the main reason is because they're afraid of being rejected, or they feel that it's hard. And I'm going to tell you that it's only hard until you understand how to do it. But once you understand how to do it, it becomes fun. And that's where your business starts to become fun again, right? So let me give you a couple examples. If you didn't have the fear of rejection, do you think that you would prospect more? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, right?
Yeah.
So I'm telling you that I can remove the fear of rejection. I can teach you how to remove the fear of rejection. I can also teach you how to be the rejecter in the conversation. Have you ever been the one that's rejecting the other person in the conversation?
Mm-hmm.
It's fun, right? But most of the times we're being the ones that are getting rejected, and it's not fun. So these are just a couple of things that we can do to help you build your business, shorten the time, the distance, and the space in between your transactions, and have more confidence in your business. Okay? So I'm not gonna take up too much of your time. I just want to share a couple of tips with you guys and encourage you guys to work on your goals. Make sure your goals excite you, and keep them short-term goals. And yeah. So thank you so much for your time today. What I'm going to do is I'm offering a free breakthrough coaching session for anyone who's interested. On the call, what we'll do is I'll help you with your business. I'll show you exactly what you're going to need to do with your business, give you a clear picture, and I guarantee you that it'll be the most work that you've done on your business, not in your business, on your business, probably the whole time in your career. Okay? So if you guys are interested, just go ahead and send me an email to info@elitesalescoaching.com. And I believe Susie emailed you a flyer, but I have a Facebook group called Real Estate Agents Adding $25,000 to $50,000 in 90 days or less. You guys are more than welcome to join. I have a lot of free coaching videos. I do Q&As. I do interviews. I'm also going to be doing a $500 cash giveaway.
What was the Facebook in?
Real estate agents adding $25,000 to $50,000 in 90 days or less. It's a little long, but it's very specific. So the sales competition, right? So the sales competition is going to be, it's going to be for salespeople, and you're going to be sending in a recording of a call that you have with the prospect on the phone, right? And so we're going to have a bunch of people submit. We're going to do like a fun little contest, and then one person is going to win $500 cash. Okay. All right. Do you guys have any questions? Anything I can elaborate on, or anything that stuck out, or?
Just one thing. Can you go over that the number 3 good strategy
Sure.
again? I think I missed that one.
Focus on talking to people who are most interested in doing something in 30 to 90 days.
Oh, okay.
That's number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Of the 3 easy steps.
Right.
First step
Okay.
is revamp your goals.
Right.
Make sure they're short term.
Short-term.
Short term.
And then the
And
fourth
make sure they
is
excite you.
And make short term and excite
Right.
you. And then the third one was focus on motivated
Right.
people.
And then the second one's continue to study and grow in real estate. And definitely learn how to use a single party compensation agreement. So
Got it.
typically within 2 hours I can generate about 3 to 4 hot leads. And I have one right now. So I have if you guys have any buyers, any qualified buyers, I have an off-market property in Whittier. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, about 1,440 square feet with a pool. Comps are around 590, 600. She's very motivated. She has tenants in there, and she's paying $1,100 a month out of her pocket. And so she's losing money. So she's very motivated. It's off-market. And I use a single party compensation agreement. So with a single party compensation agreement, it allows you to build trust, right? So just write this thing down. If you want listing agreements, all you need to do is to get about 4 to 6 agreements from people, because that's what a contract is. It's just a bunch of agreements. So by getting a single party compensation agreement, by making an agreement that you're going to show up on time, by doing what you say you're going to do, you're formulating all these agreements, and what that does is it builds trust in people. And when the trust gets high enough, it's easy for them to sign a contract with you.
So what is that, like a pocket listing? So she doesn't have it listed on the market.
Right.
You know it's for sale. So if you bring her a buyer, she'll pay you like the buyer side commission.
Well, she's going to pay me listing side. Okay, so we talked about sales, right? So sales is changing people's minds. So when I called her, she was an expired listing. And then she said, yeah, she is interested, and she's getting ready to list a house in about 2 weeks on the market. And I said, okay, so did you sign the listing agreement yet? She's like, yeah, well, the agent emailed it to me. It's a neighbor, so I'm going to go ahead and sign. So, okay. But we talked for about 20, 30 minutes. Through the conversation, I was gaining points, and I was gaining her to like me, and I was gaining her trust. And I told her that I was going to text her my information. And so a couple days later, I texted her my information, and then she texted me back, and she said that she decided not to go with that other listing agent. And she said that she would give me the listing if I could bring her a buyer. See, so I changed her mind.
So you'll get both sides.
Right. But that now I can give the other agent a 3% commission.
Oh, so you can find an agent who has a buyer.
And
When you
give them
bring
the
that
buyer side
agent and the
commission.
buyer, then she'll pay you your listing side, and it'll be a standard
Right.
transaction.
And see, this is a key to making money in real estate. It's all about how do you structure the deals. See, so buyers always come from attractive deals. That's number one. Write that down. Buyers always come from attractive deals. They don't come from agents. They don't come. So people that are trying to sell their home, they think the buyer's going to come from an agent. But in actuality, buyers will always show up when you have an attractive deal. So our job is to structure an attractive deal, and part of that is structuring an attractive commission, structuring an attractive price, making sure that we are addressing what's important to them and what's most important to somebody who's selling their home most times. No,
Money.
you would think that it's getting the most money, but it's not. The reason why people sell their homes is because they have something that they want to accomplish on the back end, right? So if you help them achieve their back-end goal, for example, the biggest challenge is when someone's selling a house, they don't have another house to move into. If they're trying to write offers, people don't want to accept their offer because it's contingent upon the sale of their current home. So now they have a problem. If you can solve these problems for people, they will gladly hire you and they'll gladly pay you a commission, right? So one of the things that I teach is how to focus on the end goal of the prospect and not worry about too much about selling their house.
But what if they need the money from the sale of their house to purchase their new house?
Well, you can
So that
help
means
them.
you have to close the house first before they could buy.
Well, you can still help them get a contract accepted, a purchase agreement, contingent upon the sale of their home. If you have the skills.
Oh,
See, they don't have the skills, but if you have the skills to secure a property for somebody, and they'll accept their offer contingent, and one way you can do that is target off-market properties, target market properties that have expired, canceled, withdrawals. If you're prospecting enough, you're gonna get investors, you're gonna get buyers, you're gonna get sellers, you're gonna get everything. If you talk to people and you listen, you're gonna be able to use people for a lot of different things other than just selling their home, right? So write this, I'm gonna give you guys just three more tips, right? The equitable deal, a successful equitable deal needs to have these three components. One, motivation time constraints. If they don't have a time constraint, then when you're working hard to bring a good, reasonable, close deal offer to the table, they're not gonna accept it. They're gonna stay in an illogical place, okay? So there has to be motivation time constraint. Some examples would be, again, a new school district, a job transfer, an ill family member. There's a lot of baby boomers who can't go up and down the stairs. They're looking to downsize, right? And if they have problems and they fall down the stairs and their health is a challenge, and they're definitely going to be motivated to want to move. Or if they can't get up and down the stairs because they have no energy. So that's number one. Number two is there needs to be a certain amount of equity in the property. I recommend $200,000 plus. Why is this important? Because if there's $200,000 plus in equity, then they're going to have enough money after they pay off their mortgage to pay both sides of the commission. They're going to have enough money to make their move happen. And they're going to have room to be flexible on coming down on the price if it's necessary. Because you could have someone that wants to sell, you could have someone that would love to sell, but they don't have enough equity to accomplish their goal or to pay your commission. Even if they wanted to, they couldn't. So by focusing on these type of deals, you're going to have a higher success rate of closing these type of deals. The third thing, motivation, time constraint, equity, and end goal challenge. Okay, so let me tell you a quick story. I sold it for sale by owner broker, and you guys shouldn't be afraid if you contact someone and they said that they're an agent or they're a broker. Because there's a lot of people that are licensed, but they don't have any real skills. So I contacted this for sale by owner broker, and I got him to let me list a property. I sold it for $1,070,000 cash, right? But how did I do that? Like, why would someone who's licensed hire me to sell their home for them? I'll give you the secret. The secret was I helped him find an off-market property to move into, which is extremely valuable. Okay? So that's the third thing, is helping people with their end goal. That's actually the number one thing. It's the most powerful right angle. So the end goal challenge, if you help people solve that, and then you take a single party compensation agreement to an off-market property, and you tie it up. When you look at the single party compensation agreement, it's for a specific buyer. Once you put that buyer's name on there and they agree to pay you a commission for a specific amount of time, if they sell that house to that person, they have to pay you commission legally. So if you go and you secure a property off market with a single party compensation agreement, you take it back to the person that's looking to sell their home, they have to give you the listing to get that property that they want. Does that make sense?
They have to give you the listing in order to get that buyer.
Well, if you let's say you say, okay, what's your ideal home? Where would you like to move? How many square feet? 1 bedroom, 2 bathroom, what neighborhood? Close to stores, what price range? And they tell you exactly what they want, and then your job is to go and find that.
Okay.
And you find it off market, it's even better. And then you make an agreement and say, hey, look, I have a buyer. I'm getting ready to sell their house. They love this property. It meets all of their criteria. Here's a single party compensation agreement which states if you sell it to my buyer, you're going to pay me a commission. This is how you can quadruple deals on expired listings. I've done that before. You can double in both sides. If I'm bringing a buyer to someone who's off market so they don't have to look for a buyer, and I say, you're going to pay me 5% to do both sides, and then because I found the property that they want to move into, they're going to let me list their home, I have the potential to do 3 to 4 sides in one transaction.
You going direct with the seller or
Yeah, always you want to deal directly with the seller. Hi, welcome back, and thank you for watching the video and staying to the end. You know, that tells me a lot about you. When you find something highly attractive, some good information, you're the type of person that likes to stick it out to the end, and that's the type of person that I can help. So I hope you got some good tips, and more importantly, I hope you implement these strategies because they do work and you're going to notice them right away. So if you like more free real estate secrets, come join me in the real estate group. I do free live Q&As where I answer your questions, give you more tips and techniques, and a whole lot more. So I'll see you on the inside.